In this video, I will teach you one simple concept that will improve your chess instantly. But it's not some generic tip that you already know. Rather, it's exactly what you need. And what you need is a clear thought process. A clear thought process. This is actually an underrated chess topic that most people don't care about. So this is why I'm playing against a 2200 chess.com engine to simply help you understand those chess positions and give you my thought process. So in the opening, I think you're just supposed to develop your pieces, and you shouldn't study too much opening theory. Trying to follow opening principles is much more important than learning some opening theory. So for example, here already, we're just completely following opening principle, right? We put pawn in the center and trying to develop. So now we already start with this. So my thought process in the middle game goes like this. First question, does my opponent make a threat? Second question, what is my worst piece? And second question is actually, what is my weakness? What is the weakness of my opponent? And the third question is going to be, what is my worst piece? Now, is my opponent making any threat in this position? No, there's no threat. What's my worst piece? Oh, this. Does my opponent have any weaknesses? This could be a weakness. Like this could be a weakness. And this is my worst piece. So how can I develop this worst piece? Well, only with b7, right? And this is a weakness, so I play b6. This serves two purposes. It attacks this weakness, and it also prepares a development of the bishop. Now I could go here, but it's kind of stuck behind that, so I'll actually just attack his weakness again. Now he's gonna go pawn to a6. Or not. Very interesting. He actually tries to attack my weakness. Now, again, ask yourself in this position. Some people would just go, ooh, I can take. Let's go. No, ask yourself in this position, what is his threat? And it's obviously knight takes on c6. Now, how do we defend that against that threat? You can take the knight. And I think I'm going to do that because if the bishop takes, well, then we take this. And if the pawn takes, we move our knight here. And now, suddenly, this pawn is very weak. I guess he has to trade off. Like, this looks very weak now. And, you know, now this pawn isn't supported by the central pawn anymore. And he already tries to somehow trade it off. But I think we might have this might be inaccurate. Now, does my opponent have a threat here? Yes, this is a threat. So this is not really playable. Maybe also not this, because then this. So let's think. I could play queen c7, but I don't really like that, right? I don't really like that. Let's think about this one. If the bishop takes, we can just go knight takes. We want a pawn. If the knight takes, same thing. So this probably c takes, but then I just go b4. And this is still hanging. So I don't really see how that would work. C takes, and now obviously c6. I think that was his point. But I think I'm going b4 again. With the point of if takes, then I take it as well. And not that wouldn't work, because then my bishop would be hanging. So this b4 wouldn't work. So let's say this and this. I guess, what can we try? We can try knight c5. And then he's gonna play bishop takes. Maybe it's not so good, but then we go bishop a6, right? Trading this off, and then we will eventually win this pawn. I think we can play that, and I think that is completely playable. Yes, he goes for this. Knight b8, on the other hand, this seems also logical, because we attack this immediately. And after bishop takes, bishop a6, maybe we actually go knight to b8, because we attack this immediately. We can go queen c7, yes, not this. And now we go bishop to a6, trying to trade off this guy here. And after this knight takes, obviously this would be quite bad for us, and because then the knight would be inside of, like, in the position, and we couldn't take this pawn anymore. So this I like the idea of bishop here, because it blocks the rook. Let's say this, and takes knight takes. That is, I guess, our best try, and I will go bishop to c5. Now, Okay, he goes for this. Interesting. And now again, you have to ask yourself, is our opponent making a threat? Well, he kinda is. I mean, not really. And then like knight in. So he kinda is making a threat here, but not really. So let's instead improve our worst piece. Our worst piece is definitely this knight. It's definitely this knight. But let's say we take. If the knight takes, we can just take. If this and the queen takes, now I think we can go queen c7. And now this pawn is definitely falling because there's no defense here. So I think we just take that. And this on the simultaneously improves this knight here, right? Now knight to a4, I thought about this, but I thought just check. And I thought this was terrible for him now because the king has to move. Or am I just completely stupid? Yeah, the king moves, but I realize, I mean, I might just be losing this guy. Like, this guy might just fall. Which causes this guy to be really strong. So I might just have messed up here. I can now also go rook c8, but then and there's a fork here. So this is not so easy. This is not so easy. And now he definitely has this threat, but I just genuinely thought on knight a4. I underestimated his threat. I thought this was very easy for me. I could try this, but it doesn't really work, right? Just this. So if we go here, knight takes, pawn takes, and let's say the queen takes. Then we go rook c1. And I think that's our best try, kind of defending it like this, trying to get this pawn like this, right? This is, I think it's our best try to somehow get here and somehow get some counterplay. And now like this, I think we can, is our pawn making a threat? Takes, not really. And I think we can just take on c6 now. Very simple. Obviously, this is now a pin. We have to be careful about that, but I think we can just resolve the pin. So again, we're now in a rather equal position, I think. Maybe he's a little bit better, maybe he's not. Maybe I'm a little bit better because the king is kind of weirdly placed. And now, again, I would ask myself, what is my worst piece? So this is definitely my worst piece, or maybe it's this knight. How can I improve one of them? I think I can improve the knight going here. I think that is the most natural improvement. If pawn to a6 is played, I'm first going to give this check. Then the king will have to move here. But then I would lose the rook, right? So on the other hand, I'm probably not going to give this check. So this. I could just move in with the knight, and now the knight is very active, but I think he can just get his own pieces active. So I think I might actually go rook here. Nah, this is making the knight passive. So let's just improve our rook first and doubling up here. And now knight here is not playable because after rook takes, it's playable. After rook takes, this takes knight a here. I could go knight a6 or knight c6, I guess. But we don't have to risk that. I just go pawn to h6. And now we have the same kind of position. But now there's no background mate. That was basically what was our opponent threatening. You had to ask yourself that, and now find this. Okay, now he plays this now. And I think, again, now it's the end game, and now this obviously doesn't really apply anymore, this kind of thought process. Thinking what they're trying to improve your best, your worst piece. It doesn't really hit the same anymore in the end game. I mean, the end game, I can play this out, and I might win, I might not win. It's not obvious. I mean, right, these pawns is my onlyest advantage. But I can play this out, I cannot play this out. I hope you understood the point. I mean, right, for example, in like this position, I mean, the earliest positions, we had obviously here, you had to play b6, right? Because we want to improve this. I might have messed up something here. I definitely could have. I mean, if we look at this again, this doesn't seem good. This doesn't seem good. I might have messed this up completely. But we somehow came out good, and the game is equal. I mean, I might have messed this up again. I told you, I said you this before, but I hope you understood the point, right? Try to play the moves, try to improve your worst piece, attack your opponent's weaknesses, and first ask yourself, what is the threat of your opponent? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button right now. If you want to get your chess games analyzed by a human, by me, hit the first link in the description, and I see you in the next video.